difference between leadership, management, and command. Then we'll talk about groupings and tasks and what's called the distribution of arms. We'll talk more on the fire team tactics, and we'll talk types of fire, designating targets, employment of arms, and what's called an ammo gas, and hopefully we'll end up doing some practice with at least one fire team. Okay, once again, welcome to the UOTC fire team leaders course. This course will be based on what you know about fire team operations already, and we'll use this info you have beforehand to increase your level of awareness of fire team operations to a level where you can actually lead a fire team. The reason you had to take the fire team operations course before is because in order to, I believe the mantra that in order to be a good leader, you must be a good follower. So you can't just, daddy, goddammit. You can't just say, "Hey guys, I want to lead you," and tell run off telling them what to do. You basically need to know what you would have to do as a fire team member yourself, what you have to what you experience throughout your missions as a fire team member, in order to completely understand what the fuck you're doing as a fire team leader. So first off, we're going to talk about something that's very central to any type of leader, and that's to differentiate the leadership, management, and command. And we'll start off by leadership. Can anyone give me a general idea of what that word means?
Getting someone else to do something you want them to do.
That was very general. No one else at all?
Can you repeat the question, please?
What is leadership? What does that word mean?
It means that, yeah.
You cut out.
I don't know, because I don't know. I'm not sure what I will say now.
Okay. Well, I'll take the definition then. Leadership is best defined as the art of influencing human behavior in order to accomplish a task in the manner desired by the leader. Very fancy wording. This means that you have to understand people within your chain of command and the best way to ensure that they work for you and not against you. A good leader is an excellent follower, meaning that as a follower, he understands what exactly he wanted from his own leader. Thus, he can adopt the qualities he wanted his leaders to have. Leadership is not just being the first guy out the door, the super Rambo-esque attitude, or wanting to feel like the big guy and get all the credit. Leadership within combat and the military is making the right decisions, taking the right step, and ensuring the welfare of your subordinates. That was quite a mouthful. What in general that means? It means that as a leader, many guys, when you fire team lead, they'll usually just be, "On me, guys," and then in best, stop fucking spamming that key. I'm getting insane. Whoever's spamming that push lock key, stop that. Okay. So most fire team leaders from the start, they'll just be like, "Okay, guys, watch on me," and then pretty much just run off in the general direction of the target area. That's not leadership. That's just being point man, and any asshole can do that. A leader needs to identify what does he need to do, and how can he best do that without getting his guys killed and maintaining his combat effectiveness. That's leadership. There are many ways to do that. We're not going to get as much into them now. But basically, it's about being able to foresee what's going to happen. So you need, so when your squad leaders say, "Okay, we need to be ready to assault this compound," then you don't just jump up and say, "Okay, I'm ready." Then you need to identify what capabilities do your fire team have, what weapons do they have, what special equipment do we need, anything to accomplish the mission. We might need satchels to blow a wall or something like that. That's what you need to identify as a team leader. So that comes down to the next word I'm looking for, which is management. Can anyone tell me what it means to manage your people?
Is it like saying to the rifleman, "Hey, bitch, carry that"?
Yeah, that's one way of saying it. Okay, in general, it comes down
It may be
to...
sorry. It may be giving the right order to you guys.
That's more what leadership is.
Oh,
Okay.
maybe something with the organization.
Yeah, I'm getting closer. Okay, I'm just gonna stop this duck hunt for now. The management, there's a fancy word for defining that as well. That's employing human resources in the most economically efficient manner as to accomplish a task in the manner decided by the leader. What this means is that as a fire team leader, you have resources. You have 3 guys awaiting your orders, you have their weapons, and you have their special equipment. What you need to do as a fire team leader is manage those resources best way possible, and that's including giving orders that doesn't get guys killed, and making what's called a sound tactical decision. So yeah, so whenever you feel that you're actually pressured, that it's okay to be the guy who says, "Guys, fall back," or or being the guy says, "Slow your rate of fire, not hitting anything and wasting ammo." That's the fire team leader. He manages his team. We're going to get into more on how you're going to manage your teams, but you need to think about all the time that you need to lead, but you also need to manage. So one thing is to lead your guys and get them into fighting position and fight. Second thing is actually to keep your unit in the fight by managing your resources and not wasting anything, but still not using too little either. It's balance. Last word is to command. Talked about leadership and we talked about management. What's the difference between those and commanding?
Maybe command is to achieve a task with the guys that you have.
That's management.
Sorry.
So I think the command is good. He the head of the crew or ahead of the leaders. I give him a task and the orders he gonna need in the battlefield.
Yeah. Okay. Command is mostly defined as the lawful authority which a superior exerts over his subordinates by virtue of their rank and or appointment. That's a lot of fancy words, right?
Yep.
Yes. So basically, that means that command and leadership goes hand in hand. Just because you slot into a leadership position, it does not mean that everyone will listen to your orders and instructions. Therefore, you must understand the responsibility of being in command of others. You must put your subordinates' welfare above your own without compromising the integrity of your team, or ordering others to do so without ordering someone to do something you would not do yourself. Yet again, command comes down to making right decisions at the right time, or issuing the right orders necessary to accomplish the task without overstepping your bounds, resulting in catastrophic failure of your task. So basically, that means when you take a command position like fire team leader, you have to show that you are a commander, and you do that either by showing you have a skill set that people need to listen to, or by what's something's called lead by example. So you don't ask your guys to do anything you wouldn't do. Basically, that means don't ask your guys to run across the open field if you're not gonna follow them. Don't ask your guys to. Yeah, you know that well. You know all these retarded fire team leaders that say, "Do this and do that." It doesn't work like that. Eventually, people will just gonna outright stop listening to you, and yeah, not desirable at all as a fire team lead. But basically, these 3 principles are the backbone of your leadership position. We don't expect you not to make mistakes because mistakes are the way you learn. So let's be happy this is just a game, pretty much. Are there any questions on leadership management and command?
Nope.
Nope.
Because this is forming the basis of the entire next course. You need to keep this in the back of your mind all the time, that you need to lead, manage, and command your team. And if I'm a real asshole, I'll probably ask some of your teammates to fuck up intentionally just so you have to correct them.
Roger that.
Okay. Next thing is phase 2, where we talked about this in the last course. It's called groupings and tasks, distribution of arms, and what we're going to talk about here is, of course, the fire team. The fire team is only for persons in most missions. So you need to understand how group subordinates into body teams based on their capabilities. So we have the fire team leader, the grenadier, the automatic rifleman, and the normal rifleman. Even though we have specified them after their weapons, they're not limited to using those specific weapons. You don't need the automatic rifleman to bring a saw to the fight. Can, but it isn't necessary in all missions. And the grenadier doesn't necessarily need to bring a grenade launcher, etc. It's options, pretty much. So if you as a fire team leader have a set of resources that you think would suit your fire team better to accomplish your mission, then you get to bring those means if your squad leader allows you. It might be that he said, okay, you need to equip yourself for assault regular style. Okay, then don't bring the fucking big ass rifle or javelin or whatever. But if he gives you a task as a fire team and doesn't give you any specific orders on what to do, then you as a fire team leader is the one who has the call about how he's gonna manage his resources to accomplish his mission. Second. Okay. So often in missions, your fire team will receive a task. Whether you're playing dummy or any other mission, who the fuck is pressing their radio key? Whether you're playing dummy or whatever, you'll always get tasks. In dummy, it could easily be a simple order like equip yourself for assault or equip yourself for suppression. Equip yourself for AD duty. Bring extra mines. Bring satchels. Anything like that you get from the squad leader, fire team leader, and then it's your job to distribute the weapons. So you don't just say, "Oh yeah, team, we need 80 weapons," and then all of them runs get each 84 weapons and end up carrying 50 kilograms of ammo. Your job as the fire team leader would be, say, rifleman, go bring 84. That could be a way to do it, and then say, we need equip yourself for suppressing. Okay, then we need extra ammo for the saw so he can suppress more. Then we say, rifleman, go bring 4 extra boxes of ammo for the saw, or something like that. So that's you managing your resources, what you get, and distribute that on the fire team, so that we don't have one guy carrying 50 kilograms and the other only carry 10 kilograms. Make sense?
Yep.
Yeah, maybe.
What doesn't make sense?
The weight of the player. Maybe if I let him hold the 3 and 3 together, they have a 2 kilo more, and some players, holding more resource like a medic. So I rather the medic maybe hold a 40 kilo for medical resource. If I let him hold a 2 box of saw weapons, saw ammunition, so maybe he got rather too many kilos and he can run. So I have to manage the same time resource and the kilos.
First off, do we have the medics in a normal fire team?
No.
No, we didn't.
Yeah. I forget that. Sorry.
So we don't have to worry about him. What we have to worry about is how we're gonna keep ourselves combat effective. The medic needs to worry about his medic stuff. He's not within the current fire team. He's usually a platoon asset. Sometimes a squad asset if we're well trained. So, but that's your call as a fire team leader. If a player says, "No, I'm not gonna bring that ammo," then you fucking tell him, yes, you bring that ammo, and you check him on it. You go up next to him and check his gear and make sure that he actually brought that ammo. And if he doesn't, you can't report ready for duty, because when the players slot into a fire team position, they agree to follow your commands as fire team leader. That's the deal. So they need to follow your orders, and you need to ensure that they do. You can't just say, okay, bring some extra boxes of MG ammo. Nah, I don't want. I want to bring extra grenades for my grenade launcher. Well, too bad. Go bring some fucking MG ammo. And that's your job as a fire team leader. Make sure your guys are doing what they're supposed to. And if you and that's we're gonna talk about this later. When you get a task from a squad leader, like you need to cover from north to south, in that or in general direction of east, that is, then you fucking make sure that your fire team is actually covering north to south and not just all of them watching east or something like that. That's your job. Even though they say, oh, it's boring or nothing is gonna happen that direction, don't care. Point that way. Make sense?
Yep.
I have a question.
Yeah.
For example, if what fire team members unruly saying, like in your example, that he doesn't want to take supplies, and if you tell him to whatever, don't care, and if he still doesn't follow, what do we do then?
I would kick him.
Cool. Sounds plausible enough.
I would either kick him or get the squad leader to chew him out. Because basically we need all of guys doing what they're supposed to do, and if a guy can't even fucking bring what he's being told to do, how can you expect him to do as you want to under fire? It's pretty basic.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't want to bother with a guy like that. He can come back when he's figured out how we play here. Okay. Just want to emphasize, when you then make sure that your fire team is equipped the way you want to, then your job is also to make sure that you know who has what. So if you said to the rifleman, bring AT4, and you said to Grenadier, bring a satchel charge, then you need to remember that, possibly even write it down, so you know if your Grenadier gets shot, that he has the explosives you need to get those. Or you know, if the rifleman gets shot, he has the AT4. You need someone to get that, or you need to get it yourself. And that's important as a fire team leader, especially because after a firefight, a good platoon 2IC or platoon leader will ask you for what's called an ammo CAS, and that's your ammo and your casualties, also known as the ACE report. And then you need to be able to know how much ammo your team has left, and how much special equipment, how many casualties you have. That's so that's why you need to know what your fire team's bringing, so you can say, okay, we have so much left. Okay. Because that's based, the platoon leader bases this on his plan of attack in the future. Okay. Now we're gonna move on to tactics. I'm sorry, this is gonna be mostly a theoretical session, and I'd suggest you take notes. If you need to watch the lesson plan as I go through it, then you can follow this link I'm putting in TeamSpeak now. That's pretty much the lesson plan I'm going by. Okay. Next thing is fire team tactics. Do any of you know the 3-to-1 rule? No one ever heard of that rule?
You said
Nope.
it at the fire team operations course. It's when you have to be 3 times bigger than the enemy to fight them, or the other way around. I forgot.
Yeah, we have to be. Who's still spamming the mic?
Vortex.
Yeah, that's right, Jason. We need to be, in order to fight an enemy, we need to be 3 times as many as he is if we're attacking. If we're defending, we just need to be at least a third of his forces. Basically. It of course can change if we have some called force multipliers. But following that rule, how many guys can a fire team attack successfully?
12.
Attack, not
Or I'm
defend.
sorry. 1 or 2.
Yeah, exactly. So we're pretty fucked if we're doing anything on our own, pretty much. That's why a fire team would never operate, or would very rarely operate on their own. because sending a fire team alone do anything is pretty much just killing them right away. Because unless they are really lucky and spot the 2 enemies before they spot them, then they can just as easily be killed as they can take on 2 enemies. That's pretty much how it goes. So fire teams usually don't operate on their own unless you're doing special force missions and you couldn't bring more guys. So this would be that's why it's important to you as a fire team leader to know squad level tactics and maybe even platoon tactics, so you can so you gain an understanding of why your team is being tasked with moving up and cordoning off this compound or something like that. Okay. So first off, there are some different tasks that you'd usually use a fire team for, and that would be part of a larger squad maneuver. First off, we have base of fire. Does anyone remember what that is?
Base of fire is when you go to a position to protect or suppress the enemy, so our other team can move forward to the enemy position. So we can
exactly.
suppress and help.
Yeah, pretty much. So let me think of an example here. I'll look at the map real quick. So for instance, if you look at your map, just to the north, just to the east of us, there's a town called Grishino. See that?
Yep.
Yes. So if our platoon was doing an assault on this, the platoon leader would want a base of fire, probably on this hilltop I'm gonna mark here, on to the west side. That could easily be a fire team job. It would usually be a weapons fire team or a squad mission, but you could be that your squad leader says, your fire team go there and establish base of fire over Grishino, watching southeast to northeast.
Okay, so can you please, the base of fire, the definition of base of fire?
Yeah, base of fire is when we need fire support to do something, then the base of fire would be where a unit is lying down cover fire for another unit's movement.
Okay.
You know the saying, fire without movement is inconclusive, but movement without fire is disastrous. So that basically means if no one is covering us, our movement, or no one is, and then, or if we're moving across an airfield like this, for instance, and no one is firing or ready to fire if the enemy pop up, then we're gonna die when the enemy starts shooting at us because we're exposed out here on an airfield. That's why you need the base of fire units, pretty much. And as a general rule, a fire team should never move without another fire team covering it, or without splitting up the fire team into body teams, so 2 men is covering, 2 men is moving, and then keep on bounding like we did last time. And that's the core of all modern warfare.
Yay.
Okay. So now in my little scenario here, we have the base of fire now. Then we need an assault element. Just gonna put one more base of fire unit down. Then we need an assault element. That will the platoon leader might want to use the lower terrain to the south of those base of fire positions. There'll be some assault positions here on the western side of Grishmo. And while other units are providing base of fire from this assault unit's northern side, this assault unit can move into Grishno covered and pretty much protected. So they have to get pretty close to the town before the base of fire units are ineffective. And once they're in the town, then they would have to protect themselves with smaller units. So either do bounding with 2 men in the fire team and 2 men covering, or doing what's called a stack that I haven't been able to teach you yet. That's assaulting. What's important for you to know is that there's a difference between being a base of fire unit and being an assault element. Base of fire units need to bring extra ammo if they know they need to do base of fire, because all they're gonna do is lying on a hilltop shooting at a hostile area. While an assault element might not need as much ammo because what they're doing is pretty much but they might need extra grenades because what they're doing is pretty much running undercover from other units up to from a cover position to the next cover position and engaging from there, so they're going to be at close range when they start fighting. That's the idea anyway. Very few people in ArmA can actually figure out how to do that, but if that works, then the enemy has no chance in reality. So that's one thing. When you get the task as a fire team leader, you might get told, get ready for base of fire or get ready for assault, and that's two different outfittings. So if you know you do base of fire, then you want to focus on bringing extra ammo and stuff like that. But if you're doing assault, you might want to bring grenades, explosives, whatever, in order to increase your capabilities inside whatever you're assaulting. Make sense?
Yep.
Yep, sure does.
Next thing we have within the fire team tactics are, of course, aggression. Aggression is usually done, it can be done all the way from fire team level to fucking division level. But as a fire team, you would usually do aggression within your body teams. So that means two men covering, 2 men bounding backwards, away from the enemy, pretty much. And there's not much tactic to that isn't the same as in assaulting. It's it's pretty much the same. So I'm not gonna do a lot about that. One next thing we have is bounding overwatch frontal attack, which pretty much goes into assaulting. Most of you remember how that's done. If you don't, then you can watch the fire team ops that Aisley's gonna put up, so you can see how it's done. And we're probably gonna try it today if you guys are good.
There's a difference. Pretty much. Sorry, there's a difference between bounding and bounding overwatch, or is it?
No, bounding overwatch is bounding is basically means bounding overwatch.
Okay.
You could say that some might want to use bounding overwatch as a way to increase tempo, because bounding normally would be short, quick bounce along towards the enemy or away from the enemy, while bounding overwatch would be more likely a platoon or squad maneuver, where the platoon or squad leader identifies from this position, this fire team would be able to see a lot of terrain, so he moves them up there under cover from the other fire team. Once they're there, they're covering the next fire team moving to another position, so that's on a bigger scale, as bounding in general is just within the fire team or with the squad.
Okay.
Okay. Next thing is a problem we often encounter on UO is the types of fires we have, or types of fire. You all know what's called a mad minute, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Mad minute is basically player makes contact and does this, and then he takes cover and he starts firing again in some insane way. Complete waste of ammo and not really killing any enemies. And the rate of fire just shows him that he doesn't really know what the fuck the enemy are anyway, because then he would be firing accurate rounds. So that's something you need to manage as a fire team leader. You need to be able to tell your guys, no, fire at a different rate. You might also have those guys that are so obsessed with getting a kill that they actually forget to suppress fire. So they would be like, okay, there he is. Ah, damn, I missed him. Yeah. And if you're shooting doing basic fire, suppressive fire, this isn't really gonna cut it either. So that's why you need as a fire team leader to be able to say, we need to fire at this pace in order to accomplish our mission. For this, we have some easy words. We have what's called rapid fire rate, and that's what's used during your initial contact to establish suppressive fire. Rapid fire is firing one round or one burst every 1 or 2 seconds.